Hello YouTube, my name is Lee Klotz and I'm going to be reviewing today the HP Stream 8 Windows 8.1 tablet. This is part of the HP Stream line of devices for late 2014. It's their low-cost line of Windows 8.1 devices. This is kind of the middle road device. There's a Stream 7 for $99, which is a tablet. The Stream 8 is $179, also, as you can see, a tablet. The Stream 11 is a laptop, and the Stream 13 is also a laptop. So this is right in the middle, cost-wise, and we're going to take a look and see if it's worth it and if it's the right device for you. So this is a size comparison between the Stream 8 and iPad 2 and the Surface Pro 3, and you can see it's a bit of an odd size, right? So it's not the size of a full-size tablet. It's also not nearly as small as, say, a 7-inch tablet, right? That extra inch you can definitely feel in the screen size, and that really is a pro and a con. If you're looking for something you can easily throw into a pocket, this device isn't so great. It will barely fit into, say, a pair of khakis, right? You can slide it into a pocket that way, but it only barely. But it's not nearly as pocketable as some other devices in its class. That said, it's nice and large if you're looking to do some reading. If you're looking to reuse it as an e-reader, it's actually pretty good. Performance-wise, again, this is running the Intel Atom. It's the Z3735G. It's a quad-core processor. This is not a super fast device, but it's functional for what you'd probably imagine it being useful for. This is a device, frankly, that Windows RT probably would have really been successful on had that OS not really gone the way of the dodo. Frankly, if you're concerned about specs, this may not be the device for you. It is running a Atom processor, although it's one of the new Atoms, which is not nearly as shoddy as the old netbook processors that also share the Atom name. It has 32 gigs of storage, which is not too bad out of the box. Once everything is installed and Office is running, you have about 20 gigs left, which for a device like this is really fine. The main downfall to this device, from my point of view, is that it has 1 gig of RAM. And you definitely can feel that, especially as you start to run desktop apps. Metro apps actually run pretty well. Everything runs quite smoothly. You can hop into and out of apps very quickly. Everything works. It's surprisingly snappy for a device in this class, right? So you can see you can hop around pretty easily, and everything is actually quite responsive, right? Where you start to run into problems is when you try to use desktop applications. The desktop is just really small on a device like this. It's usable, but only just barely. And frankly, most standard Windows desktop apps are not going to have the performance that you really want them to really get the most out of them. But it's not bad, and frankly, it's great to have the option to run something like PuTTY or any VPN application if you want to use this as kind of a mobile sysadmin terminal, right? If you want to bring something you can use to get work done, you can actually get work done on this device without a whole lot of compromises. It's just not going to be very fast. If you want to use the device as an e-reader, it's pretty good. The screen is nice and large. If we look up close, you can see that the text is not nearly as sharp on what you'd get on a 1920 by 1200 screen, but it's not bad. It is pretty borderline, but it's on the acceptable side of borderline, especially for a device in this class of price. It's not bad. You can definitely use this as a capable e-reader, and the Amazon app and the Nook apps actually run very well and are very speedy. You can see hopping between apps is quite fast, and everything actually works surprisingly well, especially for a device with only 1 gigabyte of RAM. The battery life on the device isn't bad. HP promises between 6 and 8 hours, and you'll probably get about that depending, as you'd expect, with what you do with it. Now, desktop apps, as you'd imagine, tend to be much more aggressive users of the battery. The modern apps, these kind of full-screen tablet-style apps, Windows is able to manage the battery much more effectively. if you are using desktop apps, it can be much less reliable. You know, if you're going to be watching a lot of Netflix, if you're going to be doing a lot of really intense stuff, obviously the battery life will take a hit. But for general use, checking email and such, it's actually not, it's not bad. You do get the kind of usual Windows weirdness where if you let it sit for too long, the battery life will ebb over time as it's doing updates for email and it's doing updates for your calendar. It's checking in with OneDrive. So you definitely want to make sure that you are keeping it plugged in. If you're not going to be using it for more than a day or two, it definitely won't keep a charge for a week. But for day-to-day use, you'll definitely get through a day if you're using it intermittently, as you'd probably use a device like this. One of Microsoft's big selling points for this device is that it comes with a copy of Office 365 Personal. That's a 1-year subscription, so it will expire at the end of a year and you'll have to pay for it if you want to keep it. It gives you the right to install Office on just this device, but the performance is actually really quite good. It's a bit of an awkward size, but frankly, it's not bad. If you need an inexpensive device for Office on the go, this is not a bad device. You could throw a Bluetooth keyboard and a mouse if you wanted one against this device, and you would have a pretty effective cloud-backed Office system. The major downside is there's not a way right now to connect it to a display easily. So the Stream 8 does support Miracast, so if you have a TV or a device that allows you to use a wireless display, you can use it with this. That's a pretty edge case. I don't see most people doing that, but it's an option. If it's something you want to do, this device does let you do it. So if you work around its limitations, you could actually turn this into a low-powered Office workstation, but it's going to be low-powered. Don't think you're going to be doing anything really complex on it, but if what you want to do is edit Office documents on the go, it's actually not too bad. So, the Stream 7 versus the Stream 8. What do you get for your extra 50 or 80 bucks, depending on where you buy it? You might think that the main thing you get is an extra inch on the screen, which is true. You do get a slightly larger screen. I think it's a little odd that they came out with a 7 and an 8 inch because they are so similar. But the main thing that you get with this device that you don't get with the Stream 7 is a T-Mobile radio. And if we look here, you can see mobile broadband. The mobile broadband gives you access to the T-Mobile network, the 4G network. You get 200 megabytes of T-Mobile data, 4G data, on this device for the life of the device, which is a big promise. It seems like there's either an expectation that you won't use this device very long, you won't use that data, or that you'll upgrade to a more robust T-Mobile data plan. But it's a really nice feature. If you are somewhere where there's not typically going to be great Wi-Fi, you have the option to use this free 200 megabytes a month, and you can use it to check email or send email. You're not going to get a lot of web done with it. It's a nice feature. If you're a T-Mobile customer, it's even nicer because you can add this device to your plan for about 10 bucks a month, and then it becomes a much more useful device because you can access it virtually anywhere. So that's a really kind of interesting value add. Frankly, I would have traded the mobile broadband radio for a higher res screen or maybe a gig of RAM, but that's the device you get, and it's a pretty nice feature. Now the question you may be wondering is, how does it play Minecraft? Well, don't get your hopes up, right? Minecraft is built on Java. It is rather a resource-intensive game, and this device is not going to do a particularly great job with a gig of RAM at playing Minecraft. I really feel like there's an opportunity for Microsoft to make a low-end device that's really optimized for, if nothing else, just playing Minecraft, because it's such a pain to get good performance out of that game on very low-end hardware. But I'll show you here how it runs. You can see now it's downloading the Minecraft resources. So now that all the resources are downloaded, let's take a look at Minecraft. Let's just generate a world. This is running in windowed mode. So you can see the performance already is really, really slow. I mean, it's unlikely you're going to be terribly enthusiastic about playing Minecraft on this device. Still waiting. The short answer is playing Minecraft, or really any other Windows desktop game on this device, on the Stream 8, is not going to make you very happy. It's really too bad. I think it would have been an opportunity. I think maybe another gig of RAM might have really helped, but this device isn't going to work for that purpose. A device like this really comes down to the use case. If you're looking for an office device, it's actually not bad. It's actually pretty good. You can use all your Office apps, and they run quite well. If you are looking to it for a gaming device, it's terrible. Don't even start. Frankly, if you're looking for even the basic modern application games, you're better off spending your $150 on an Android tablet that will play a much wider variety of games and probably play them with better performance. The email experience is quite good. It's the typical Windows 8 email experience. Calendaring, it will sync up with an Exchange account or with an Outlook.com account or any of the normal accounts. And you can get a pretty robust productivity experience out of the device. You'll probably be happiest if you think of it as, say, a netbook without a keyboard, which is basically what it is. The build quality is not bad. The screen, as I said before, is really quite terrific for its resolution. It does feel plasticky. The back is plasticky, and you know, if you squeeze it, you can feel a little bit of flex because the back is actually removable. Unlike many tablet devices, you can take it off and take the battery out if you want to. But it is. It's an appropriate level of build quality for the price of the device. It doesn't feel like a $500 device, but it's a sub $200 device, so it's kind of hard to complain. The accelerometers work well and generally quite quickly. The GPS is accurate. There's not a lot to complain about if this device fits your use case. The big question is, will this device fit your use case? Or would you be better off with an Android or a low-end iPad mini, say? There's no question that the great weakness of Windows 8.1 tablets is the App Store, which is both poorly managed and pretty anemic in its selection of apps. There is a lot of junk in here. There's some good stuff. I mean, the more time goes by, the more apps are showing up. There's still not an Instagram app, although with this device you wouldn't probably do much Instagramming anyway. You have the typical stuff you might want. You have Facebook, you have Netflix, but you can see here, this is not a Pandora app, right? This looks like a Pandora app, but it's a fake Pandora application, not written by the Pandora company. It's that kind of frustration that makes using this device a little bit less robust feeling than using, say, an Android or an iOS app. There's a lot of junkware out there, and it's sometimes difficult, especially for a novice user, to weed through that to make sure that what they're getting is actually the good stuff. I wish Microsoft would make more of an effort to curate this app store and to make sure that only the good stuff was bubbling up. But as it is right now, there are a lot of apps missing from the app store, and you'll definitely feel the lack of apps if this is your only tablet platform. That said, downloading, installing, and updating apps is all very seamless and very easy to do. They've got a great infrastructure here. They just really need to get the App Store curation and the user experience to be a little more robust. Probably my biggest complaint about the Stream 8 as a day-to-day user of it is that occasionally it will, when it goes to sleep, lose its ability to connect to its wireless card. The card comes up as disabled. You'll see when you swipe in down here where you normally see the Wi-Fi connection, it will have a little red X. And unfortunately, the only way to get around that is to either restart the device, which is actually pretty fast, right? Once it's up and running, you can restart it in 30 seconds or less, but it's a pain to have to drop out of all your applications and restart. If you go, though, to Device Manager and find the network adapters and just disable and re-enable the Realtek RTL 8723BS wireless LAN network adapter, you just right click on it or tap and hold and say disable, and then tap it again and hit enable. It will come back. I keep hoping this will be fixed in a driver or a firmware update. It hasn't happened yet. I've owned the device about a month now. Right now it's late December of 2014, and it's still not fixed yet. Once you know what to do, it's a pretty quick fix, but I could see it being very frustrating to the kind of novice home user that this device is really targeting. So ultimately, the question for a device like this is, who's it for? And this device is really only for you if you are a hardcore Windows user and are looking for a secondary or even tertiary device to take into tablet situations, right? It's not going to replace a laptop very well. It's definitely not going to replace a desktop for any kind of gaming or development situation. But if you're looking for a tablet that's inexpensive, that you can throw in a backpack and not worry too much about losing, it's actually pretty good. The screen is nice and bright. I do wish it was an HD screen, but you can't have everything for this price. The T-Mobile radio is a nice bonus if that suits you, and even if you only use the 200 megs a month, it's nice to have in a pinch. And overall, the performance is acceptable. It's not going to be great for any kind of serious development usage, or definitely not gaming unless you like the modern app gaming. But it's okay, right? If you're looking for something to bring around to check your email or to check your calendar, it's actually pretty good. It's a surprisingly great device for under $200, and with all the bundled add-ins, it's substantially under $200. I would recommend the Stream 8 over the Stream 7, mainly for the screen quality. But it really remains to be seen how a device like this will stand up either to competition in the Windows 8.1 space, and especially in the iOS and Android space, because there are some really killer devices out there too. But that's the Stream 8. If you have any questions, leave a comment. I'll be happy to answer them. Take care.